Hi, everybody. It's Joseph Hawes from Planetgg. And today's podcast is about stress. Now, this month in April is anti-stress month. Now, let's be honest, right? Every month in the year should be anti-stress month. But I feel, what we do, it's almost like when we make New Year's resolutions. We wait to the end of the year and then we're going to say that come the new year, we're going to start doing this, we're going to stop doing this. But if we're stressed, why is it that it takes an anti stress month for us to think about what physical activities we're going to do, what mindful things we're going to do, what hobbies we're going to take up, and even what lifestyle changes we're going to do? Again, I say that should happen every month and every day. However, the beautiful month of April has come along and it is indeed anti stress month. And we need to consider what it is that's building up that stress, what it is that's a powerful tool that I've learned whilst working in my recent employment. And it's about the creating a balance wheel and thinking to yourself what is in your control, what is completely out of your control. And they're the main things that I feel that we hold on to, and it gives us the most stress. And if we were to just break it down like that and look at the things that we can actually change, it then relieves our stress almost automatically before we've even begin to put things in process. Now, this podcast is not going to say to you, take up yoga, Tai Chi, even though hot yoga is amazing, and go for a walk, dancing, things like that, because it, they're things that need to be in your control. You need to think about what you can do to up those physical activities if it is that indeed is what's stressing you out. And in regards to mindfulness and relaxation, our lives just recently kind of stops us from thinking to ourselves, how do we stop? When do we stop? If we take 10 minutes of our lives to switch that phone off, you'll do it if you're in a kind of exercise that calls you to do it. But let's be honest, there will be some of us thinking to ourselves, what's gone on whilst that phone has been switched off? And I've been in a similar exercise where I've asked people to do that. And the first thing they do when they switch the phone back on is scroll through it. It's incredible. 10 minutes of their life that they switched that phone off or computer off. Now, that magical word about hobbies and activities, wow. I have always tried to pretend to be an artist. I enjoy painting, I enjoy writing, I enjoy being creative. But just recently, with things going on, I've not given myself that time off to enjoy those things because it's all within that take a break. It's all within um, engaging in something that stops the stress from going in. But let's be honest, you've got work life stress, health stress, family stress, relationship stress, environmental stress, the world. So you tend to think to yourself, where do you escape to relieve it? And I think the first place that you start is within yourself. Practicing self care is where we should always begin. because that, believe it or not, is in our hands. And I don't mean that if you do have a condition, you'll be able to heal yourself. But practice self care means putting yourself first in every instance. It's not about being selfish, but you know what? If you feel that it's selfishness needs to be put in place for you to take care of yourself, then by all means, we need to do that. It's all about remembering to love yourself first. Because what is stressing you, only you can break it down into your head. And then when you have worked it out, you can then say to yourself, well, my most stress is the things that's out of my control. And if it's out of my control, I need to release it. I need to leave it where it is because nothing that I can do physically or emotionally is going to change that situation. So I need to let that situation go and remember the things that's in my control. We let it affect things like our sleep, our diet. You know, just recently I was doing an exercise and it came about that setting boundaries was something that I needed to learn. And not setting boundaries in regards to respecting other people's space, but it was setting boundaries for people to respect my space. I haven't set any up, so therefore people could just come in and literally pile and pile and pile and pile and pile. And what I've learned, which is a magical thing, is how to set those boundaries respectfully and to tell people that you are there to support them. But at some point, there are things that you need to say, I need my space. Now, saying it as I have done might seem easy. However, we all know that it's hard. And a lot of us might need to reach out for professional help. And that's not a bad thing because guess what? As soon as you reached out, you are on the road of dealing with your stress. Now, at work, somebody reminded me of certain things in regards to that was stopping them from progressing, and what they felt that they were looking at a situation, and I'm going to try not to digress a lot because this is all around the stress. And they felt that they were a very small person in a very large organization. What was bringing the stress to them was they didn't feel that they could show initiative, engage, input. And I remember an old story, and apologies if you've never heard this story before, but I will try to summarize it. And it's a story about the lion and the mouse. And the story goes that a powerful lion who was known for his strength catches a small mouse. But instead of devouring it and eating it straight away, he spares its life. And later, the mouse helps the lion by freeing him out of a net. Now, the moral of that story is even the smallest creature can be of great help, and kindness can be a powerful tool. Now, I always remember the lion and the mouse. And when I go into a room and I'm that mouse, I know that I can be a powerful support. I don't go in and think to myself, good God, all of these people are lions. And if I show initiative, they will all eat me. No, I go in and I think to myself, what indeed is stressing me so much that it's holding my tongue, that it's pushing back my personality, that it's pushing back the needs to be engaging? Why? Why is that consuming you so much that when you leave a certain meeting or a certain situation, you say to yourself, I should have said this, I should have done that, I should have said this. And guess what happens? That adds to that pile of stress. So within any environment, and I'm not just talking about the workplace, never think that you're too small to contribute or too small to input or too small to show initiative or too small to engage. Never allow that to be your stress. Eliminate that straight away because that, my dears, is totally in your control. That is in your circle of control. Now, earlier I spoke about an exercise, and it's actually called the circle of influence, and it looks at things that you know that you can influence change, and other things that you can't change. So let's talk about breaking down what is stressing you. If you are thinking to yourself, yes, this is great to hear, but realistically, I can't change anything. No, that's not right. That's not right at all. You can and you will. And the change doesn't have to be that you one day wake up and there's a superhero cape waiting for you and you're going to make world uh, dominating changes. No, you start small and you think, what can you do to help you? What can you do to make this day today, the day that you've woken up, different? And that's where you begin to change what is stressing you. That's where you begin to change the level of stress that you have. It's not automatic and it's not something that we can all change overnight, but one by one, step by step, we'll look at ourselves at the end of the day and we'll be inspired and motivated on one element, one step that we've taken towards relieving that stress. So I leave this podcast by saying, yes, indeed, April is anti-stress month. And yes, we will be looking at things like lifestyle changes and changing how we are in the workplace and changing our diets and things like that. And that is encouraging. And nobody will ever say to not do that. But I will say this much, it's not about a month. We got to this point because we have done little or nothing to help our stress levels. So we need to think about a lifestyle goal, not relieving a month, but changing how we see our lifestyle changes. So it's a bizarre thing to say to somebody positively happy anti-stress month. So I'm not going to say happy anti-stress month. What I'm going to say is look after yourselves. And I do hope that within this month, you find one thing to alleviate one element of stress that's going on in your life. Take care.